Hey folks, Pallet here, and welcome back. Got another update here on the walled village that I've been working on, and as always, I like to start up here in my treehouse, give you a little overview. Not much has changed around the farms and the mills, but you may notice that I'm in progress on building a large bridge over here, and most of what we're going to be looking at today, I guess about half of what we're going to be looking at today, is over past the bridge. So you may remember that in the last video I showed off this tower that I'd been working on, and I've got that in a state that I'm pretty happy with at the moment. And beyond that, I've done a little more construction since the last video. So we're gonna just fly over here real quick. I've been using the armor stand statue mod to create a few people around. And when we come up here to the second level of our guard tower, you see we've got a kind of an archer base set up. We've got a table set up with bow, crossbow, some arrows. We've got a guy here reaching down to pick some stuff up. Also got some barrels with supplies, and we've got a couple of bows hanging on the walls ready to go. They can shoot right out these arrow slits at any encroaching mobs. Now, if we go up to the very top, we'll see that I haven't added a lot, but we've got a couple of barrels up here and a lightning rod just to be safe. And we've got, of course, our tower guard, who is obviously seeing something off in the distance, and somebody rushing over to check it out. Now, that's just a little bit of fun I've been having. Some of the more in-depth builds that I've been working on are right over here. And you see we've got a nice big barn that I've set up. This is, I'm intending this to be kind of the main entrance to the village. We're going to have a nice little guard tower and gate set up over here. Eventually, we're getting there. In the meantime, I've been working on some of the buildings inside, and of course, one of the things that travelers need as they come in is they need a place to stable their animals, maybe get some fresh horseshoes put on. So we've got a nice little barn set up in here with a few stabling options, got plenty of supplies, lots of storage. And then over here, we've got kind of a smithing station or a place where a farrier could take care of shoeing horses. You can get them corralled in there with gates on both sides and get any work done you need. Upstairs, we've got even more storage. We've got barrels all over the place. Put a bed up here, just more to make it convenient for me when I was working on everything. But that can always be where the stable hand gets to spend the night, since they obviously would need somebody here at all hours to welcome people in. And of course, we've got a nice little crane here that's lifting more supplies up to the loft. A lot of nice detailing up here with the rafters. And of course, we've got plenty of lighting so that we don't have to risk mobs spawning in here. I want to say that this was Blue Nerd's design. I still need to do a little bit of landscaping out here, toss some flowers up. And yes, I was correct. This is Blue Nerd's biggest storage and animal barn. Now, you may be hearing some of the animals. I've added a couple of other little things down here. First, we have a pigsty. Got about half of my pig population that I've moved in over here. And of course, got some podzol, some coarse dirt in here just to make it look a bit more like they've actually churned up the mud. This was the simple pigsty by Gorillo, and if I'm remembering correctly, I believe my chicken coop over here, yes, this was also by Gorillo. Sorry, the chickens do make a lot of noise. But we'll come around to the front here so we can get a better view of this. So nothing terribly complex. We've just got a small coop for the chickens to live in. There's a gate across that so that you can keep some chickens in while other chickens roam around. I did have to modify the the fence a little bit. Gorillo used trapdoors for his fence, and while trapdoors really do look nice, and they have some similarities to fences in regards to whether mobs can get over them. Uh, I just really preferred the look of the fence to kind of keep with the rest of what I'm doing here in the barn area. So I switched everything over to fence, uh, and this I thought was actually kind of cool. It was one of the ideas that Gorillo had in his video, and that was to put a waterlogged slab down, put an item frame down with an egg in it, and then you get some coral, and you put the coral fan down. And because you have the waterlogged block, that keeps the coral from dying, and you get what looks like a nice little nest for the egg. It's just a cute detail. And we can come back here and we can kind of look in. We see the chickens wandering around. You may not be able to tell. It's kind of tough to see, but there's carpet down inside there. And if we look from this side, you can see that there's a chest. So that was also one of the details that Gorillo had in that, was to make this chicken coop kind of an egg farm as well. So all of the eggs that those chickens lay in there are going through a series of hoppers and dropping right out into this chest. So if I ever run out of eggs, which I really don't think is terribly likely, but if I ever do, I've got a ready supply of eggs there that I can come and get. I'm going to eat real quick just because I do not like seeing my hunger get down below full. Just one of those things. And we are going to rest briefly since the sun has not set enough, but oh, look at that sunset. Let's come over here and see if we can watch the sun setting over the little spruce forest that we've got. Uh, so we are going to take a quick rest here so that we don't have to look at the rest of the updates in the dark. Now, I do have some plans on, I still have a lot of plans, I should say, on this side of the village. And one of those, in fact, is to start building a little bit of an entry fountain up here. Make a nice fountain that the path will go around in a circle so that everybody that comes in has kind of almost a town square feel right here. And in front of the barn, you notice I left a lot of space between the road and the barn. I want to get a nice inn or tavern set up right here. That way, people who have come in from traveling, they'll be able to stop, they'll be able to rest. They've got a barn right behind where they can stable their horses if they need to, and just get a good night's sleep before they venture into the rest of the village. Now, of course, I did mention the large bridge that I've been working on here, and this is still a work in progress. While I've got the main surface of the bridge done, and I'm pretty happy with it, there's still a couple little parts of the curve that I'm not 100% on, but overall I'm happy with this bridge. This leads back down to the area where I've got the blacksmith and the bakery that we've looked at in previous videos, and you're right up behind my stables down here and a couple of my living areas. It crosses right over this river, and I'm working out what sort of supports I want to put in here for this. I'm thinking that I may have one really large central support, some sort of tower maybe, that will go right up through this and kind of encompass the whole bridge as it goes up. But that again is one of those things that's still kind of in the planning stages. I haven't even started laying down blocks for that yet. But in the meantime, I do have an area here where it's easy to launch off of. And we've got, I think, two more updates that I really want to take a look at. And one of them is under our tree house over here. And you can see that we've got a bit of a dome back here now. I have not completed a path to it, and in fact, my wife was just mentioning the other day that she wishes I had a few more paths in my village, because she gets a little bit lost when she comes over. So this is my greenhouse. Now, I can't get too close to the glass because of these sweet berry bushes. I want to be a little careful, but you notice I've got some beehives in here as well. I had on the far end of the village, I had some beehives that I noticed were gradually losing their bees. And eventually one day I came in and I had no bees left. Now, I realized that it was probably because I had set something up wrong. If you put a campfire under a beehive, it keeps the bees from getting aggressive when you harvest honey or honeycomb from them. The mistake that I made was that I put the campfire, you see this is recessed in the ground a little bit. I had put the campfire too close to the beehive, and I suspect that as the bees popped out of the beehive in the morning, they got caught in the flames and they all died. Now we're going to grab some flowers here so you can see I've got quite a little colony of bees in here at the moment. Now they do all really love going to the door, and I suspect that has to do with the fact that we've got these trapdoors here, and of course mobs treat trapdoors a little strangely sometimes. They all think they can get through, even though they can't, and so I think they're all trying to hover there and get out the door. Now I've got, of course, 3 of my beehives here, and around the tree I've got 2 bee nests, and I've been taking a couple of in-game days to breed the bees and make sure that I get plenty of them so I can have a steady supply of honey and honeycomb. One of my wife's building projects has included a lot of copper, and she was not aware when she first started building with copper that it would tarnish, so I told her the trick about waxing it, and of course now that just means we need a steady supply of wax, which we have. But let's take a look around. I've just been kind of talking and focusing on the bees. Uh, so we've got 4 sections here in this greenhouse. Every section is bounded by water, and of course that's done with water logging, stairs, lighting, in addition to having lanterns suspended from chains. We've got some sea lanterns that are recessed under iron trapdoors, and that makes sure that we have plenty of lighting in here. Now we've got a nice little table with all sorts of flower pots. This is where I imagine the gardener would be cultivating the cuttings that he's taken and trying to get flowers ready to actually transplant. And of course we've got some sugarcane as well. And down in the water here, we've carved out an extra section so that we can have some tropical fish swimming around. Also got a little sea pickle just to provide a little extra light under there. And because the table is made of stairs, those are, they effectively block the fish in. Now, I've tried before having some open kind of pond and fountain areas with tropical fish, and they like to hop out. And they hop out the wrong way, they land on the ground, and that's it for the fish. Give me a moment here. I am going to clear the weather so that it's not raining. The noise of the rain just kind of, there we go. Noise of the rain distracts a little bit. So I've got 3 of the double tall flowers, the large flowers, growing here in plots. So I've got the lilac, the peony, and the rose. I've also got, I went out and harvested some ferns from one of the taigas, and of course got a couple of sunflowers in here. So we've got just kind of a nice little wildflower area here. On this side, we've got some bamboo as well as some wildflowers, and of course, you know, we've already talked about the beehives. Above the bamboo, we've got another small balcony. And oh, we've got a friend up here. We've got some flower pots with tree saplings sitting on small scaffolds, just to look like, you know, work tables or end tables there. And of course, we've also got plenty of sweet berry bushes. Got plenty of natural light that comes in here, plenty of artificial light for when it's nighttime. And we are going to lure these bees away from the door again. I have considered putting in a kind of an airlock situation here. You know, extending these walls out a bit, putting in a second door. Maybe not using the trapdoors here, not 100% sold on those. I already altered the front entrance here from the tutorial that I followed just because I knew I wanted to be able to enclose this. I wanted to be able to keep the bees in there and not have them flying out and getting lost. So I've already kind of customized it a bit, and I'm thinking I may customize it further. But just to give credit where it's due, this was tutorial 12, which was the dome greenhouse by Cocobono. I really do like the look of this. The getting the dome shape is one of those things that I just did not feel comfortable with kind of doing it by eye. And the tutorial that I followed was really there were a couple of spots that I had to rewind and watch again to make sure that I was getting blocks in the right positions. But overall, I love how it turned out, and I love that its design lends it to being modular. If I wanted to expand this greenhouse, I could just come right off a side here and build another copy of that dome right next to it. I could expand it out beyond the wall if I wanted to, and I could have a complete multi-room indoor garden or indoor farm if that's what I chose to do. So yeah, overall, I'm really happy with this dome. I'm happy with it, how it turned out. I'm really thrilled with the the barn and the just the potential that that whole area up there has. Now, there's one other thing that I've been working on. Oh no, you know what? There is a second thing that I just did last night that I completely forgot I was going to mention. And it was just a really little project. It took a little bit of traveling to do, but I built a panda enclosure. In fact, I call it my panda preserve right over here in the corner. So all of my pandas are hanging out over here. Here's Edgar, there's Ellen, and there's we've got Edgar, Ellen, I actually had a panda named Poe, and I'm not sure where he went, but Edgar, Ellen, and are still here. So I just heard a little bit of a squeak. I wonder if is still a baby, or sorry, if Poe is still a baby and is hiding here somewhere, or if he clipped through the wall. I don't know. I'm gonna have to do a little investigation and see what happened to my little Poe. So yeah, that was, I had forgotten that I wanted to show that off, but I've made sure and put some bamboo in there, and we've got the pandas in so that uh, they're kept safe, except for the one that disappeared. And I'm a little concerned about the one that disappeared. Now that panda preserve is really kind of a long-term temporary solution. I, I I really don't think I'm going to keep it there permanently, but pandas are a little bit tough to transport. Their hitbox almost perfectly overlaps. That was loud. I think that lightning strike may have hit the lightning rod that I have right above this building. So I'm gonna step out here real quick and get away from some of the mob noise. But pandas are a little tough to move. As I was saying, their hitbox almost perfectly overlaps the hitbox of a boat. So you have to be really careful if you transport them by boat, which is what I did. They also don't take a lead. You can't just leash them and lead them where you want them to go. So yeah, boat or a rail car seems to be the best way that I've found for moving them. And when I got them over here, I just wanted a nice little place where I could keep them contained, which is inside the corner of the wall just past that hill. And eventually I think I'm going to make a little bit of a zoo enclosure for them. Make something that actually has an interior that looks kind of like their natural habitat. And I want to do something similar for my goats as well. I've got a herd of goats back behind the manor house over there. Um, and I kind of want to make a zoo enclosure for them that looks like the snowy peak of a mountain so that they can hop around and have kind of a nice little life. Those sorts of enclosures are going to take up a fair amount of space though, so I've got to plan out my compound space carefully to make sure that I can accommodate those. Now, the last thing I wanted to show you is something that I've been working on inside inside the Nether here. And we are going to hop through here real quick. And now you may have already seen a little bit of something unusual in here. We've got a bit more green, a bit more vine than you would normally see in the Nether. And I'm just going to come back here so we can walk in and see it all at once. This was an idea I actually got from watching Tanisha on one of her streams because she has done a lot of work in the Nether on her hardcore world. And I didn't have the time to really get into something as massive as she's done. And I think that my Nether area here, there's a lot of there are a lot of crevasses. There's a lot of open space here, and it would take a massive amount of kind of terraforming or nether forming, I guess, to get it to where I could build something really huge. But I wanted to have a little bit of home away from home in the Nether. So I made a small hidden lagoon in here. First, we've got a tree growing up on the tiny little island in the middle. We've got our pond here that's made, of course, with glass blocks, mostly blue, and I believe I have some purple glass down at the bottom just to make it a little darker. There's some things I could change about how I did the glass blocks that could make could give it the illusion of depth a little bit more. Unfortunately, blocks are just a little bit of a pain to work with, so I haven't gone back and rebuilt it, but it's one of those things that's kind of later on my to-do list. But then we've got a guy out here getting ready to do some fishing. We've got a few trees that we've grown up around the edge, and of course we rely on some glowberries for lighting. I've replaced the ceiling with blue concrete, and of course we've got a little bit of a sun over here that just so happens to be shining right over our beach umbrella. We've got a buddy here that's just sitting back and enjoying the day. We got a little boat so we could go out and sail on the pond if we wanted to, and otherwise we can just relax on the beach and take it easy. So this is one that I was really proud of how it turned out. Using the vines to cover up the rest of the walls provides just a little bit of an I don't know, an indeterminate background. You know, you can't quite tell just how far that background goes until you walk up to it. And even here we've got a few multiple levels of vines to give a little bit extra depth to it. And of course, if we come out here by this boulder, this just leads us back out into our main path in the Nether that goes to some of our other portal networks. But so yeah, that is what I've been working on the last few weeks. I apologize that it's been a little bit longer than I wanted to get a video out, but I just kept sitting down and thinking that I had another project I wanted to finish before I did some recording, and I wanted to have them all done so that I could show you a lot of changes here. But great, you know, thanks so much for coming and watching the video. I really do appreciate that. If you like what you see, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. You'll be able to get notified of future videos that I put up. If you enjoy the project that I'm working on, hit like down at the bottom. And thanks so much for spending some of your time here with me, and we'll get another video out for you soon. Have a great day.